In this exciting episode of DIY Nerd Man, I am attempting to fix a waterfall faucet that only puts forth a sad trickle of water. Will I be able to figure out what's going on, or will I ultimately be defeated? Stick around to the end, there might be a twist. This video is to document how I fixed the low flow on this faucet. It was one of those waterfall style. Also had these very loose handles, and it was tricky because it didn't have like an aerator to clean out. So I started by shutting off the water, cold side first, then the hot side, and these valves were very difficult to close. Hadn't been exercised in quite a while, I'm sure. But with a little grunting, I was able to get them shut off. Probably should replace these valves sometime soon. Double checked to make sure the water was completely off. Cold and hot were both completely off, so that was good news. The valves did still work. First thing I did was just try to tighten up those two handles. Kind of hard to see. It's got the big brass nut that threads on, and then once it's relatively tight, you can use a screwdriver, the Phillips head, to give it the final snugness. So right now I'm kind of loosening the Phillips so that I can tighten down that large brass nut a little bit more, and then I can go ahead and tighten up the Phillips head screws, and that makes the handles nice and snug. So just getting these nice and tight. So now I bring in my little water bucket to catch any drips, and I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the cold water supply line and see what we got going on. So wasn't too snug, which is good. So I want to just test this, just make sure I'm getting water. And so I'll turn this on real quick, check out what the flow is, and yeah, flow is fine. So there's no issues with the supply line or the valve letting enough water through. So the next thing I want to check is the screen filter, and you can see on this faucet right here at the bottom of these hard copper lines there is a mesh screen, and you can see it's quite clogged up. So I popped that out, kind of used like a pick or I actually had a screw that kind of stuck the sharpener in there and pulled it out. Rinsed it off, and I'll go ahead and just stick it back up in there with my finger. And then I'll just go ahead and reconnect that water supply line. Now with these lines, these rely on a rubber gasket to make the seal. So you don't need Teflon tape, you don't need silicone. As long as that rubber gasket's in good condition, it'll be a watertight seal. And so important to remember with those is you do not want to over tighten them, because you don't over tighten them and that rubber gasket will split and then you'll have a leak. So just get it snug, no need to crank down on it. And so now I'm going to turn the water on and just check, see what the cold water flow looks like now that I cleaned out the filter. And that is underwhelming. So that was not necessarily the entire issue. The filter was obviously clogged, but that wasn't everything. So let me try it on the, go to the hot side. Same thing, a bunch of debris in there. And go ahead and rinse that out. I got a cotton swab and just kind of scraped out all the debris and gunk that had built up in there. Nice to know where clean water is filtering through a mesh filter gunked up with who knows what. There we go, nice and clean. So now I go ahead and repeat the same process as I did on the cold side. Just kind of jam that filter back up in there with my finger. Then I'll reconnect the line. Now these ones had Teflon tape on the threads for some reason, but that's not necessary. It's not doing anything as long as that rubber gasket is working. So just kind of snug it up. Don't crank down on it too hard. If you crank too hard on this, you'll start to twist that hard copper line coming down from the fixture, which is not good either. So I'm going to turn this one on, open up the valve, and just see if that improved the flow or what the result is. It should be good to go. Clean both filters, although yeah, definitely did not work. So that tells me there's not, the filters were both clogged, but that's obviously not the only issue. So I'll pull that filter out again, make sure nothing in there. Filter's good. Let me do a flow check on the hot side. Water flows just fine, no issues there. So I'll go ahead and reinstall and check the flow again. But based on everything I'm seeing, this tells me there's a clog somewhere further up the line. Something got past those mesh filters and is inside the actual faucet body. So yeah, these are, now they're just totally clogged, not working at all. So I need to figure out how to get that debris out. So what I ended up doing to fix the low flow in the bathroom faucet, I determined that it had a clog somewhere in the faucet after the screen and up to the actual faucet spout, and so there was no way for me to clean that out. So I ended up just getting my compressor, using this nozzle. Probably had it about 60 psi, and just did the best I could to jam it in the top of the faucet, let her rip. And I had disconnected the water line underneath to kind of just create an open pathway. And I blew this through there a few times, hooked it back up, and it worked. Cleared the clog. And I just reinstalled the little screen mesh filter, put it all back together, and there we go. After blowing out the clog, hot and cold, worked perfectly. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Helps me out. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.